Hello everybody, it is me Darcy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the podcast, the Unnamed Podcast, where I sit here with this guy for about a time talking rubbish or whatever else comes to my mind, generally rubbish, but as always we're here for a good time, not a long time. Joining me is Kris, or this guy, or bitch, or whatever you want to call him, really.
Calm down, man.
He'll answer to it all. But, guys, welcome back. It is a new week. It's technically the first week of school, so
Indeed it is,
I'm officially back at work.
Yay.
But yeah, as we often do, let's get started with a little bit of channel news. Kris, take it away.
Okay, so on Monday was another part of Bunny Man.
It was the next part of Bunny Man. And
yes.
in all honesty, not one of my favorite ones. Like, as always with Bunny Man, stupid stuff happens. It's Bunny Man, it's going to happen. The game literally sucks.
that's true. I wish it was.
No, look, it is an incredibly difficult game because it has like so much randomness to it that doesn't work out in your favor. You think you do something the same every time, and it's like a different response every time.
Yeah.
But in this episode, we really don't make much progress. But if you can imagine,
I don't know if much is the right word.
Any progress.
We did make not anything.
But if you can imagine what no progress looks like after an hour of work, that's what happens in this Bunny Man.
We were going longer than that.
We went for about an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So like, yeah, it was a long recording for nothing to go in our favor.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how bad things must have been.
Yeah.
And they were pretty bad. Just just the general stuff, like the starting mistakes that always happen. I don't think we've ever
the jumps that don't work in our favor.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever actually put together after almost making it a run where you get a good start. It's like every time we get a long way into a map, the next one or next three starts are like, okay, first stop's dead, just dead at the first obstacle.
Yeah.
So
it's about accurate.
Yeah, that one came out on Monday. Honestly,
not a lot to say about that one, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, there's not a whole heap to say. It's a Bunny Man. I think one of the best parts that happens is just something purely accidental that happened between me and Kris, and it happens pretty early on, I believe. But in reality, it was a standard Bunny Man.
You want us fail? You watch us fail?
Yeah, spikes.
Gotta watch.
Spikes are the enemy, bombs are the enemy, everything's the enemy, and
yet you are attracted to them.
Well, as I said, the crazy thing is, every time we play Bunny Man, you're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing the end of this thing. It's like, yeah, you saw the end of it once, and then you're like, but I get here more often than you, and it's like, no.
Oh, I feel like I do.
No, like never. You're always like, oh man, you got killed by that one piece again. It's like,
no,
I'm like, wait, but I generally make it past that one piece. It's like, in your mind, you just remember the times when I
think it's more so, like, I think a lot of the time, because you just let it happen sometimes, that I just keep going.
If I haven't ever seen the end of the level,
I think a lot of the time
just to see what it's got.
Yeah.
But, like, generally, I'm like, nah. I'll give you, like, a couple of seconds to off yourself, and then I just restart.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like, yeah, I think for you personally, because you've said it in like the last 6 or 7 days, where you're like, oh man, I'm up. You always die at that part, and it's like, the truth is when you I do die. It's like as I said in this one, I die at specific points, or I make it past them.
Yeah, true.
And it's like, the truth is,
I die in many random places.
Exactly, and that's what makes me laugh, because you always, like, every video I've edited, you're like, man, you died there again, and it's like, I've died there twice, and in the last, like, 20 attempts, it's been your deaths at, like, the first jump, but it's like, yes, I died there again.
Yeah.
Because, for some reason, you just do not remember your own deaths, but my ones, probably because they always happen in exactly the same spots.
Half the time, I don't remember what I said 30 seconds ago.
Fair enough.
Understandable.
But it's just so funny, because, like, every Bunny Man, you're like, Oh man, we made it to. You got killed there again. It was like Kris.
But correct me if I'm wrong.
I've been
When we keep dying, a lot of the times I end up being the first one to make it to the end.
Oh yeah, because I
Yes.
never attempt it. Like I just stop.
Yeah, well, fair.
I tend to make it furthest first is something that I have
Yes.
noticed because generally, if I can make it over the first obstacle, everything else is fine.
Well, yeah.
Like
There's a few issues.
I remember the cave one where there was the just that one tiny spike pit, and I could not ever make it over that tiny spike pit. And it was just like it wasn't even like it was a hard obstacle. It was like just put yourself over the spike pit and then deal with the map. And it was like for me,
Yeah.
it was like boom, and I'd like go flying, bounce off the roof, and end up in the spike pit.
Yeah.
Or I would jump, and it would be like halfway through my bunny man, just like I give up. It just like belly flops in.
Well, there was that one where it wasn't at the start exactly. That was the one with the massive spike pit that we had to use the 3 boulders to get across. We died there a lot. I think more than what
That
we
was
did.
the start of it. That was the start though.
I thought it was a bit past it.
No, it was the first jump. The first jump was onto the first boulder, then the second boulder, then you land on a small platform, and there was a third boulder. That was literally the start of the level.
Sure. Or was it?
Yes, we just spent so much time
I keep
there.
thinking there was
Nope.
like a second, like that was the second part of it.
Nope, that was
Like we
the-
had to drop down into
Nope,
it.
that was the first part.
Okay.
And you would do that, and then the reason that part sticks in your mind is because the rest of the level was very much not an issue.
Oh yeah, no.
It was
we
like
did.
once you did that, it was done.
Oh, we were fine with the rest of that.
But yeah, that 3 boulders, that was the start of a level.
Yep.
And yeah, that's kind of how Bunny Man goes. Like you either get a really good start and make it a long way, or you fail at the first hurdle.
Yeah. It's a rough one.
To be
It really
fair, I
is.
honestly think like next time we do Bunny Man, we'll be fine with this level because we got to the end. We got close to the end about 6 or 7 times, and it was
Yeah.
just like I don't know what was happening, but like my hitbox seemed completely off that day because it would like kill me the second my hands got near the spikes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then I would just float down into them and be like, what? Because as I was editing, I looked back on some of the ones where I was like, oh, my knees got me killed there.
Yeah.
And it was like, my knees hadn't even made contact with the spikes and I was dead.
And then there were other situations where our legs were fully in the spikes, and then we got
There
out.
was the situation in that video where I was
Oh,
doing
yeah.
flips on spikes.
Yeah,
I was just
that's
like,
right.
front, there. And it was like,
Forgot about that.
and I was just like, how the fuck did I survive for as long as I survived on those spikes? But yeah, that was the Bunny Man. Very good time. Not really, but yeah, it was Bunny
That
Man.
was something.
Look, Bunny Man is one of those ones where it's like, it is just a game we play because we know it's going to be frustrating. There's no other reason to it. We set it up. We know it's going to be frustrating. We know, especially now in the later levels, that it's going to take a lot longer. Like I think we finished in the first ever one. We finished half of in like under an hour. We finished half a world, maybe
Yeah.
even a whole world. But now it's like
No, I don't think we've ever done a whole world in a video.
I thought we did. I thought we got to the ice world on the first video. But anyway,
I think it might have been second video we actually got to it. I think we had, if I'm correct, we had like 1 or 2 missions left.
We
So
got
we got
through a
through
lot.
most of it.
but now with these ones, it's like and it sucks because usually there is a difficulty curve in games.
Oh yeah.
But it's because you unlock things to make the games easier or you get better when there is just so much random luck.
Oh.
And like again, random luck plays a big part in this one that we see, because there are points where I like literally jump and my legs just don't work. Parts where I grab and my hands just don't grab onto anything.
The buttons.
Oh. But like, well, I mean, this video that came out, like, I remember, like, okay, there was that one time I jumped before my feet had ever made it, which was insane.
True.
Because somehow I managed to jump whilst I was in the air, but then still have enough forward momentum to throw myself into a pit,
Yeah.
which was just like, wait, what?
Yep.
But But yeah, there was like times when I like press the grab button and I'd like you'd see my hands grab like make contact with the thing I'm trying to grab and then I'd just fall.
Yeah.
And there was like, and then there are obviously the issues with the jump where it's like you literally jump and one time you get thrown across half the map and then the next time it's like you get like an inch off the ground.
Yes.
It's like, what did I do different this time? And the game's like, nothing.
Yeah.
There are literally not enough controls in this game for you to have done anything different. You just failed.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, Bunny Man, great, very frustrating.
I feel like we were tree huggers in that one.
We were.
We really were.
We did spend a lot of time in trees.
Yeah.
And also like just panicking. There was also like when we would finally get past those 3 bombs, which are not hard to get past. Like,
not in the slightest.
If I got there, I would make it past those bombs. It was generally
it was the occasional fuck up.
It was generally either you die and then I would go, or you'd be so far behind me and I'm waiting and then you just see me like my character start to do weird things because I'd be like just sitting there with my hands off the controls.
Yeah.
My character would start falling forwards, backwards, sliding across the ground.
Yeah. I think with me, a lot of it is it's still in my head, but I start paying attention to you, but not paying attention to myself falling off an edge. That's what happens when I get far enough ahead.
But yeah, that was well. That's like one of the other issues is like, it's so bad because like you've got to get far enough ahead that you're not interrupting the other person, especially when it's like there is enough room for one person to jump here.
Yes.
And it's like, but if you get too far ahead, then the other person has a much harder time because they have such a small screen to do everything on.
Yes.
Or in the particularly nasty ones where it goes up and around, it's like the second you make the jump, it's like the camera goes, okay, you don't need to see what you're landing on anymore. It's like, yeah, no, I do.
No, please, give it back.
Yeah.
I need it.
Anyway, that was Super Bunny Man that came out on Monday.
And then, moving on to Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday.
Today, for us, is Subnautica.
Yep, the next part of Subnautica. So, guys, I've made some massive leaps and bounds in Subnautica. Yep. I finally got my Cyclops in the last episode, but like that was like the end of the last episode. So, I spend the first part of this outfitting it and making sure it's got the stuff that it needs to be a mobile exploratory lab, whatever you want to call it.
My mind went straight to Gundam.
Not a mobile Gundam, no.
Yeah, no, that's where my mind went.
But yeah, so I spent a bit of time like, putting in battery chargers and all the kind of stuff that you need. Yeah. And honestly, it's been a very long time since I played Subnautica where I had one. But I think they've made some modifications because I need to now go back and do a whole bunch of other stuff. After taking it on my first exploration, I used all of the power cells and like incredibly quickly.
Okay.
Like, I think by the time I'd made it to where I wanted to go, it would like shoot itself down to half power, and I was like, okay, humana.
Damn.
And like I've got stuff in there. It's like recharge the power cells, recharge my batteries, fabricate, make health packs, all that kind of stuff. So it's got all of that stuff draining its power, but at the same time, it's also like, okay, hold up, because it used to be like, I think if you had like 4 power cells charging, they would charge faster than it took to drain all of them.
Okay.
So you could like kind of quickly replace, and you could keep yourself at like half power pretty steadily. But now it's like, okay, I've used all of the power, and my power cells are only half charged. Okay, excellent. So I have a bit of work to do to make it
more efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's literally stuff that I have to do.
Yeah.
So I have goals now. I can go places now and like actually take Johnson, the fish punching robot.
Yes.
I have a really cool, like, because it drops him out of the bottom, it's like super cool because it's just like you hover over a place, find where you want to go, jump in, and then you like see all the things moving. It's just like boom, and so
nice.
It's like proper like ODST Halo dropping into things.
This is what you want.
Especially when like you switch the sub into silent running mode, which I think also drains extra power, but all the lights go red, so it actually looks wicked sweet. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've got a lot to do there. I've got depth modules to make for the Cyclops, energy efficiency modules to make so that I can actually continually explore. I've got a few places I know where I've got to go, and yeah, some upgrades to all of my stuff. So everything in there is moving in the direction. I honestly have zero idea about the story. Honestly can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing. I've found a lot of like the parts for it. Like there's like these vents and stuff that like suck in water into us. I know from playing it before that there's like a secret lab somewhere which I've got to get to, which has like the biggest animal in it and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what any of it is. I found like a secret.
Right.
I found like an alien Stargate somewhere. Like I've found a whole bunch of the stuff that's like this is part of the story, but I'm just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. And then just continue on my way. You know how I am.
Well, yes.
But yeah, so
Easily
I'm
distracted.
hoping to finish this story by the time Subnautica 2 comes out,
Okay, yep.
which I
When's
believe
that again?
is later this year. It could be early next year, so I could have a lot of time.
True.
But there is also Subnautica Below Zero, which I do also want to play. But
Yeah.
big thing is I'm kind of sitting there until Subnautica 2 comes out. Subnautica 2 will hopefully be able to get both me and Kris into the Subnautica world. I honestly don't know what they're going to keep from the original Subnautica and what they're going to change. Because the Subnautica Below Zero got rid of like a lot of the underwater vehicles and replaced it with like a singular one. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I didn't like the singular vehicle that they gave you for underwater. The underwater truck sucks.
Is Zero the one I've briefly played here?
Maybe. Zero's the one where you're in ice.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It was definitely Zero. Didn't play a lot of it, but
Yeah, Below Zero.
I do remember it being like
Like,
didn't really be above the water level because it was too cold.
Yeah, like if you're out on the thing, you've got to stay near fiery bits.
Yeah.
But like Below Zero has a lot of cool stuff in it that I really like. I like being able to explore the land a bit more. Because like Subnautica has like 2 land spots in it, I believe.
Okay.
And I kind of like the fact that like I think Below Zero has like a Leviathan X type creature that can get you on land because it like just burrows through the ice and shit like that. But yeah.
Well, there you go.
It'll be interesting because I will give it a go if I finish where I like if I get to a finish point before
Before
the number 2 comes out. I'll start up by Below Zero. But fingers crossed 2's not too far away because I honestly can't remember. I remember seeing a lot about it like earlier last year, but now I'm just like,
let's find out.
Now I'm just sitting there being like, I can't remember anything other than the fact that like Subnautica 2, it's gonna be multiplayer. But
release date is this year.
Yep, there you go. I think a lot of gaming companies decided to stop putting out games that are going to release in like 4 years.
Yeah.
Just because it builds up too much hype. Like you say, we're working
on it. It builds
up
hype initially, and then with some games, the hype completely dies out, and then it becomes a silent release.
Well, I'm thinking about games like, okay, let's think about The Witcher 4 that's recently been said it's coming out.
Yeah.
We know that they're working on it.
Yep.
And I think that's about all we really need to know until we're closer to a release date. Because you can show us so much stuff right now, we'll either forget it or it'll build up such a hype that the game itself can never live up to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to be like, we're working on it. Here you go. Here's the teaser that we're working on it. And then, like, when you're a year or so out from release, being like, okay, now here's the stuff. Because by then you've got in-game gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, nothing pisses me off more than when a game is just like, yeah, it's coming out. here's a trailer, here's a trailer, here's a trailer, and like the whole time you're never seeing anything of gameplay.
Which is kind of what they did with Biomutant.
Mm.
They put out their cinematic trailer one year. The next year, I believe they put out a different cinematic trailer. Then you didn't hear anything for 2 years. You walked into a store and it's like, wait, that's coming out next month? What?
I honestly think that game they just kind of lost the plot with it though.
Oh, they did.
Because I don't think it was anything like what they wanted it to actually be.
Don't believe so.
But anyway, yeah. So Subnautica came out. We're moving in the right direction there. Lots of stuff's happening. Good times.
Yes.
And Johnson is like once again the MVP of that because no one punches a fish quite like a mechanical suit. And also like it's just incredibly funny because me being me, I get like weirdly attached to things in any game.
Yeah.
So like I have my pet fish in Subnautica mainly because I picked up a fish to turn into a water bottle, but then because I was out exploring, it stayed in my hand the entire time I was exploring. So now I can't turn into a water bottle because this is my exploring buddy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And like Johnson. But then like at one point while I was playing the game, it was like the computer that like sasses you in it
Yeah.
is like getting overly attached to inane objects is something that happens when you're by yourself for too long. I'm like, I've done that. I've achieved that.
Yeah, that's been achieved. It's done. You don't need to tell me twice.
My Cyclops literally has a fish tank on it so that fish can come exploring with me again.
No.
But yeah, no. So that's all happening. Yeah. And then of course on Friday, no, not Friday, Saturday. Sorry, because of the new release schedule.
Yes.
This Saturday we will have the a Minecraft come out where okay. So first we'll describe what happened with last week's Minecraft because it got fucked up. Basically, last week's Minecraft was part 2 of our exploring hell.
Yes.
Long story short, we did not find what we were looking for, but we did spend a whole lot of time in hell.
Yes.
Mainly, I spent a whole lot of time in hell. Chris spent a whole lot of time dying.
Still died less than I thought I was going to, though.
You died 3 times.
Which is less than I thought I was going to.
Okay, but yeah. So basically, Chris dies the first time in hell, then somehow gets lost because he never sets the spawn point back at home. So
yeah,
somehow managed to fail following the simple instruction, stay in the water. Because I'm like, stay in the water. Now, this is all stuff that I realize when I'm editing because I can't see what Chris is doing until I get all the footage. So I literally say to him, he's at the Christmas Island, which if you've seen the Christmas episode, you know it's about 3 minutes swimming from the base.
Yep.
So he's in the Christmas Island and goes, I can't remember how to get back. I said, go left, stay in the water, you'll be fine.
I did start off going the correct way, didn't I?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And if you just kept going that way, you would have been fine. But you had... So literally about 10 seconds after I say, just stay in the water, you'll be fine, Chris jumps out of the water and starts walking.
Yep.
And then gets completely and utterly lost. Then almost gets killed, gets back to our base, does not reset his spawn point, and then gets murdered by a zombie.
Yeah.
And so he's back there. All of this time, I'm still in the nether, just plodding away, doing what I do.
Yep.
So eventually Chris makes it back. This time, listening to what I said, which is stay in the water. It's perfectly safe, and you'll make it there within seconds. But he does that, gets back. He comes back to the nether. Yes. Now this whole time, actually no, that's not even true. I have to go out and give him a bunch of stuff because the reason he died the first time was jumping into lava.
Was an accident.
Now, the crazy thing about this is
big screw up,
when he jumped into the lava, Chris lost everything, including a diamond pickaxe, which I don't know why he was carrying because he also had a netherite pickaxe, which is a diamond pickaxe, but better. So he had 2 incredibly good pickaxes, one of which, if we...
Yes. I didn't realize I had both of them on me.
Yes, I noticed that after I edited the first video where you were like, no, I don't have a diamond pickaxe on me. And I'm like, wait, but you're using a netherite pickaxe, which is an upgraded diamond pickaxe. Anyway, so The netherite pickaxe actually probably survived. It was just ungettable back because I
It
think
was in lava.
well, it floats on lava. That's why it's so good.
Oh.
But I didn't make it to where you died until after like your second death. So by the time I would have got there,
Oh yeah,
it would've
everything's
despawned.
despawned. Yeah.
But yeah. So and I did not know you were carrying it. So Kris
Fair.
lost all of his good stuff. So I had to go out after giving him half of my food to begin with. Had to give him another half of my food, gold equipment, all of this stuff, so that he could come back to the Nether, where he brought the other diamond pickaxe that he had. We had 3 good pickaxes, and Kris lost 2 of them in his first death in the Nether.
Yep.
And then decided on our second go into the Nether to jump into lava again.
I didn't want to jump into lava. I'm not
Jumped in lava. Fortunately, this time he got out of the lava before dying.
Yeah.
But pretty much I had to run around and after spending a lot of time in the Nether collecting stuff that I needed, I then had to go and start gathering the stuff that Kris kept dropping because Kris kept dying to lava in the Nether.
Having said that, I got knocked into lava that last time.
So
I didn't jump into it. Thank you very much.
I didn't get knocked into lava. Is all I'm saying.
There was a lot of lava around me up higher.
Doesn't matter.
It was like walkways 1 block wide.
Right? That's regulation. Anyway, so why I bring all that up is because you guys unfortunately can't see that because that video is lost to us. We did put it up, but unfortunately it only rendered the first 3 minutes. So you get to see Kris's first death, but you miss pretty much everything else after that, which is upsetting because it's like some of the craziest stuff. Like it was a really good episode.
Yeah.
I think it was the better of the 2 exploring hell episodes.
Yeah.
Just because Kris has thrown away so much of our stuff and then has the nerve to come back into the Nether with the other diamond pickaxe.
Of course.
And then start wasting it mining Nether rocks.
A remake one.
We're just so mad at him again, as I say in that video. We have found very few diamonds.
I'm aware.
And you've thrown most of them into lava.
Yes.
But yeah, like there's a few bits in there that are were just really good. I'm really upset that we lost them because they would have made great shorts. Like, when the piglins start attacking you, I figured out why they attacked you. You hit one of them with a pickaxe.
Did I?
Yes, you did. He's literally
Was
standing.
that while I was mining something?
No, he's standing in front of you, and you're in a hole, and he lands in front of you, and then you hit him with the pickaxe.
Oh yeah.
And then you jump out of the hole, and then you're like, "This one's attacking me," and I'm like, "Well, it's because you."
Well, I figured I may have hit that one.
But
I
anyway.
did figure that, but eh.
But like, yeah, so Kris hits a piglin, it starts attacking him, and he's like, "I don't know why it's attacking me." I'm like, "Because it's pissed off. It saw you drown in lava and come back with another diamond pickaxe." But the reason that episode is kind of important for this week's episode is because this week I literally fix all the damage that Kris did to our base in the last episode. Which, if you're wondering what that was, he literally let 2 creepers explode on our base.
Unintentionally.
They were both very visible in your footage.
I'm aware. I know they were
So
visible. I saw that.
I have to fix that, and then I go into the Nether and just start like making everything that we walk on. Well, not everything we walk on. I start making a cobblestone path, to get to where we've made it to exploring wise, so that at least it's a little bit safer and we have something to follow.
Yes.
So that's kind of what this one is. It's me going into the Nether, making this kind of Nether track. It's not a Nether superhighway like I've done in the past. It's just a path through the Nether that even Kris probably shouldn't be able to lose.
You're underestimating my abilities here.
Yeah, I do make many statements on that. But like once you see the path, guys, you'll understand why I'm like, even Kris shouldn't be able to lose this, but he probably will because he's absolutely useless.
I'm going to wander off at some point.
It doesn't matter. It's I've literally been like, for places where we travel, you can see the path. But anyway,
yeah.
So we will be back in the Nether in the next episode exploring because we have not achieved what we want to do there. And when I'm doing the solo stuff, I refuse to push further than what we've done together.
Well, we achieved one thing we were looking for.
Did we?
Weren't you looking for basalt?
I was looking for basalt.
Yes. We found it.
Correct. So yeah, that's sort of where the Minecraft is. So you get to see a bit of what me and Kris did in the last episode, but mainly this one is just me making that path.
We also find out we're near the top.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Although I think we may have found that out last time.
We found it out.
I think that's in the video where I think that's in part 1.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So you guys kind of already see that.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we still have a lot of the Nether to explore.
Yes.
And probably for my own personal preference, part of Nether exploring is setting up Nether portals so that we can use the overworld more easily. But yeah. So we'll be back there. I'm sure more shenanigans will go on. If you watch this, you actually get to watch me fight like 7 ghasts because those motherfuckers just will not leave me alone.
They did hate you.
A whole bunch of skeletons that assault me in a tunnel. Like I kill one, turn around, there's another one. Kill that one, turn around, there's another one. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? So that's that'll be coming out on Saturday.
Yes.
I think that just about wraps up all the stuff that's happening channel-wise, other than, of course, the fact that there are shorts, they keep coming out, and that's never changing. We do try and cherry-pick the best parts of the videos, the funniest parts, or the parts where we're just the most incredulous to put into those shorts so that you guys can see the funniest parts, because as I always say, not the whole videos are not like that, because 1, we're not that talented.
No.
And 2, I don't think it's possible for a Minecraft video to be nothing but hits.
True.
Like, there's got to be some points where you're just moving around.
Oh, obviously.
And then with every other game that we play, there's like cutscenes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of does that. When it comes to subscribers, last check it was 221. So we're
Still
literally there. 1 subscriber away from having an exact 2 number.
Yeah.
Nothing but 2s. But yeah, feeling pretty good about that.
It is good.
Yeah.
We've gone up again.
Absolutely.
It's another 3 from last week.
I think so. Yeah, as I said, most of the time we're generally outdated by the time we're saying stuff, but
true, yes. Well,
that's
outdated by the time the video comes out.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very true. But yeah, so I think that just about wraps up channel news.
Yeah.
Anything else to add to that? No,
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. So that wraps up channel news, guys. So we're going to move on to some other stuff. And the other stuff that I want to move on to right now, like right at this second, is game releases for February.
Okay,
Yes. Basically, there's a couple games coming out, but like 2 of them seem pretty awesome, and I just want to talk about them quickly.
Okay.
So, like the top, I think the big 3 games that are coming out in February are Civilization 7.
Yes, you have been excited about that one.
Monster Hunter, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Ah, yes.
So the 2 of them that I'm actually excited about are Monster Hunter.
Yes.
And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I don't think I ever actually finished Kingdom Come Deliverance, but that game was freaking awesome.
I don't think I ever played it in the first place.
Oh, it's a great game. Like, it was just a really fun game. I spent so much time just, like, playing that game and playing nothing else at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to the second game, because probably the biggest thing with it was a very confined world.
Yeah.
And like that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it did kind of mean that there wasn't a whole variety of stuff going on. And I think that in the second game they're going to expand on it. And as far as things go, like the first game was so good and such a nice thing, it just missed a few of these kind of bigger aspects that you kind of wish would happen and were going on. like the battles, even like the big battle scenes and sieges and stuff, seemed like kind of small scale. So a second game where they're going to, like add on to the parts that worked really well, and
That'd be nice.
hopefully because the first game was as successful as it was, have more resources to kind of make it a bit more, not so much bigger, but like when there's like supposed like full-on battles going on, to actually feel like you're in a full-on battle, as opposed to being like you're in a battle and there's like 10 dudes running around fighting each other.
Yeah, that one's a bit of a rough one.
And like having like there's like, I think the biggest town is, I don't think it's the castle town. There is a castle town which is like, it has a castle and a town as a castle town would, but it's incredibly small, and you wouldn't expect it to be big, but like because it's all in the walls and everything. But at the same time, like there were no big kind of towns or cities or stuff like that, which I would really love to see, because as I said, it was such a kind of it was a really immersive game to play. I would like to see it kind of on a bigger scale, just more areas to see, bigger townships and stuff. Because it was one of those games that was really very much like, oh, you go to a small town, it's like, okay, they've got small town stuff. It's like you won't be able to get stuff like good armor and stuff there. You've got to go to one of the bigger towns. But even the bigger towns were small, as I said, pretty small in comparison. Yeah. And because it's set in the medieval era, that you wouldn't expect massive like sprawling fantasy cities, but I'd like to see them kind of be able to expand what they're doing, and maybe see some more major players come into it, because it's kind of like, it's almost like it takes part in a very small part of the country, while a whole bigger thing is like you're being told it's bigger stories happening, but you're kind of confined to this one little part of the country. I'd like to be able to explore a bit more of the story. So Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, really excited for that. Honestly, though, with all the stuff I said about like wanting to see it bigger, they could literally put out a game that just continues the story and is like otherwise exactly the same as the first game, and I would still play.
Oh, sounds like it.
The one thing that I really actually would hope that gets a little bit better though is archery. I remember the archery in Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 being god awful. Not because it was a bad mechanic, just because of their realism goals meant that it was like, it wasn't the best, funnest mechanic.
Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, maybe a change to the stamina system as well. It was one of these games where it was like blocking with a shield chewed up a bunch of your stamina, when it's like doing this doesn't require stamina.
No, because if you're holding in that position, it's ideally a resting position.
Yeah, it's like maybe like a different...
Getting hit, on the other hand, would take.
The problem was
because you're taking the actual blow.
The problem was this, right? It had a lot of realism parts to it. So like if you're wearing heavy armor and someone hit you with a cutting sword, you'd take like no damage, because they would just bounce off your armor pretty much.
That makes sense.
But if they had like a hammer or a thing, you'd have to block. Now the only issue with that was that the stamina, so the thing that allowed you to block, was also the thing that allowed you to attack. So like blocking and blocking and blocking is fine, but then you can like stab back because you just block so much.
Yeah, you would.
Whereas I think a better system would be a stamina for attacking and running and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of blocking, yes, blocking still chips away at that stamina, but what determines whether or not you can continue to block is like a blocking bar. Like you've taken so many hits that you kind of like your shield just gets knocked out of the way.
Yeah, it would make sense. Because all those blows are going to the one arm, so it makes sense you can only take a certain amount of hits.
Yeah, so it's like bang, bang, bang. Once that blocking thing's down, you've got to let it refill before you can block again. And that just identifies you, like, knocking the shield away, out of the way. But like it always annoyed me, because it was like you'd block, attack, and then it's like, okay, now I can't block or attack, and it's like one of my pet peeves, because as a lot of people say, when you add stamina systems to games, we understand it's for gameplay, but if it's detrimental to the gameplay, it's not good. And this was one of those systems where I was like, it was detrimental because it was like block. Like you would be blocking arrows, and like because you're running up blocking arrows, it's like arrows fuck all really.
Yeah.
And it's like, pum 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 pum. Oh shit, I can't block anymore. And then you just be like hit by like 20 arrows, and you're like, I should be able to block arrows all day. Like it literally. People with shields would just be like, boom, 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 boom. The shield would give way before you felt like, okay, I've got to.
Before you felt
I'm tired of
getting hit. Yeah.
I'm tired of holding this shield up and blocking this. And it's like, so that was one of my only real issues with the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll get fixed. Other than that, Monster Hunter, you know, the new Monster Hunter game, the actual successor to Monster Hunter Worlds, because Rise was the smaller, not so big title.
Never played Rise. I did play Worlds though.
Well, I believe it's like it's kind of hard to describe, but like Monster Hunter there's like the Monster Hunter stories, which I believe is like the RPG game.
Yes.
Then there's non-numbered games, and then there's the numbered games. Now, I believe Monster Hunter Wilds,
I believe that's what it's called. Yeah.
is number 6. Worlds was number 5.
Yeah.
So it's like these are the big ones, and let me tell you, I've seen some of Wilds. It looks so good.
Yes.
I honestly wish
clips here and there.
I honestly wish there was a little bit more RPG elements to them. Like, I want to play this game. I want to explore the world, all that kind of stuff. But like, they've always kind of lost me at the point of playing them. Is like, okay, you play them so that you can kill bigger monsters, so that you can get better stuff to kill bigger monsters. And it's like,
yeah.
But I have seen a bit of the story of this one. It looks good. Depending on how the story progression goes, like I think maybe what I've always been missing from the Monster Hunter is like the story progression, because it's kind of like you get there, okay, you're there, go kill monsters, and it's like if there is story, it's like maybe 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah, Worlds didn't have
much
at all. It was.
Like, I remember there being a bunch of story before you were like prologue before you got there.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, now you're here. Here's the characters that are going to help you along the way. And that's it.
Yeah.
And then like
there
the
was
real
little bits in between. And then, so when you got back to the area, you had to go talk to someone. Then there was a little bit of story. Then at a certain point, it unlocked a new area. And at that point, again, there was some more story. But then it sort of ended there.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. See, I feel like it's the perfect game to have like a lot of good like classic Final Fantasy like story and then be like, now go out and kill big monsters. But here's the reason why you're doing it. And like, so the whole thing of being like, oh, you go out and you hunt big monsters, so you can go out and hunt big monsters, so you can get better stuff, hunt even bigger. It's like that on me is always just like, like it's fun, but it loses its thing. But this one looks good. There seems to be a bit of story. There seems to be a bit of progression. I kind of wish they had like a little, as I said, a little bit more RPG in it. Like there were, like, I understand it's like, oh, you go to a camp and it's like at a camp it's like, oh, eat food, and then you just eat food, or you go back to the main base, it's like eat food, and it's like I kind of wish there was things where you could go like talk to people and they'd be like, oh yeah, right, and give you like mini side missions and stuff like that, and it was all like actually done through talking and not just like, here is the mission board, do the mission board. Like I feel like. I wish there was like a setting where it was like, do you want to play a like RPG style, or do you just want to play an online style where it's like everything is on a board, so you never have to engage with anything ever. You don't have to go walking around the base camps and stuff. The other big thing, like I think this was like, I'm hoping they kind of explore into more than they did in Worlds, is that because this one is like, oh, we're doing this exploration thing, blah blah blah. That there is a lot more exploration, because Worlds didn't have a lot of it. It was kind of like, you're in this area to hunt this monster. And you'd like, the areas were kind of big, but it was like, the areas were big to let the monsters run around a lot. Like, it was never really like about the exploration, whereas from what I've seen in this one, there is actually a bit of emphasis on exploration. Like, the areas seem quite large.
Well, that'd be nice.
And with the mount that you ride on, it's like yeah.
Oh yeah, sweet.
But again, even with the mount you ride on, you don't like it like follows paths, I think is what they said. Like you don't actually control it; it just kind of runs to where you're going.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And yeah, but I don't know. It looks good. It looks like something I want to play. I'm gonna give it a go, see how it goes, and I'm actually quite excited for it. As for Civ 7, look, it's a civilization game. I kind of found my favorite Civ in Civ 5. I've played Civ 6, and I was like, Civ 5 was better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's good.
We'll find
I'm always after a game like that.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything that's coming up.
Well,
I see Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6 is getting a remaster.
Which ones are those?
They're the older style ones. It would have been back on the PlayStation 1.
Okay. Does it say like is that like the Angel of Darkness ones where they kind of like goth them all up and it was like the 2000s?
I'm not too sure. I didn't actually play any of the earlier Tomb Raiders. I just saw it show up today. Phone gave me a notification saying, "Hey, this is these." Oh, actually, no, it was on Facebook. So
Here's a question.
PlayStation posted something on their thing.
Has Assassin's Creed Shadows been pushed back again?
I don't know.
Because I thought it was supposed to be released in February, but now it's definitely being released in March, 20th of March. And I was like, is that another pushback or is that from the last pushback? I was just sitting there wondering to myself because I was like, I thought it was coming out like halfway through February, and then I saw something today saying it was out in March, and I was like, oh, okay. I thought February was its pushback date because it was supposed to be last year.
Okay.
And then it was like, no, we're releasing it at the start of this year.
Yes, so it has another pushback. So it was originally supposed to be coming out November 15.
Yep, that was never going to happen.
Then it got delayed in September, and then later got delayed a second time on January 9th, the 9th of January.
Look, I know it's an easy punching bag right now, but I'm going to say this. Delay the game as much as you want. It's not going to fix the glaring problems with it.
True.
Which are... It doesn't look like a polished video game.
No.
I'm thinking of going back and playing Odyssey again.
Okay.
Love that game.
True.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna turn out to be just like a 7 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be terrible. Like I think it's definitely past the point we were seeing late last year where the animations and stuff like were freezing, bullets were just being left in the air, all that kind of stuff. Doorways, the stairs leading to doorways and stuff were offset. I think a lot of that should be fixed.
Should be.
But I don't think it's going to. I don't think there's no way in hell that it could come out a very polished game. It's had too many behind the scenes issues with, like that's not even including any of the other like the non-gameplay based controversy that it's brought up. This is just the gameplay that we've seen. Like I've seen it a little bit and it looks a little bit better, but like I think they definitely did too much. Like there's a whole like village setting out mini game in that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like, okay, cool, you get to design, build your own little secret hideout town, but it's also at the same time, it's like...
I never expected that from an Assassin's Creed.
It was technically an Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, actually true, yeah.
Except it was done smarter there, where you didn't do any of the city wheel planning building.
Yeah.
Remember how I was talking about this when I was talking about The Sims, and I like to play it and then have other games be like, yeah, see, I'm a sports star, and then go and play a sports game to do the sporting side of it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Assassin's Creed is trying to bring everything into one game, and it's like, don't, because do one thing well.
Yeah.
And, if you do one thing well, even if the game isn't groundbreaking, you've done one thing well. Well, they seem to go on for the attitude of do a lot of things subpar.
Yes.
But yeah.
And I think it's as we discussed in that conversation last time. team up with someone who does that kind of game
Oh,
if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Like we just discussed in
But
Sims, have EA like put in the actual sport games, but it's more so it just opens up the game. It's not
my big thing with it is, right, games are getting too big at the moment.
Oh,
like
ridiculous amount.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is probably going to be like 150 gigabytes just for the game.
Yeah, I reckon more probably.
Probably more. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You know, we're all running around with terabytes, but people want to have more than one game.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, so if your game uses up, like, what, you just got your new Xbox. It has a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
If you had a game that uses up over a tenth of that, that means you can have less than 10 games installed.
I'm aware.
That's not good.
Well, you already get less than 10 games anyway.
Like, but you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
that's not good. And it's like, yes, as we increase graphics and stuff, games are going to get bigger. But also, adding a whole bunch of bloat that isn't really, there's like secondary systems in a game and stuff like that, is only adding to it.
Oh yeah.
Like the big one that just is like, how are your games getting so fucking out of control is Call of Duty, because
it's ridiculous.
you know, there's no excuse for them. It's just poor optimization. But like Shadows is just, it seems to have too much stuff happening in it. It's like, you know, just make a good Assassin's Creed game. That's the big thing.
That would be nice.
As I said, I'm gonna go back and play Odyssey because honestly, that was the last one I had a really fun time in. Even though, for some unknown reason, the people at Ubisoft were like, yes, Greeks, they don't use shields. Egyptians, the game before, definitely use shields.
Yeah, 100%.
Vikings, the game after, 100% use shields. Greeks, never used a shield.
No, never once. What
No
are you
one
talking
ever.
about? Don't even bring it up again. It's wrong, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, other than that, there is actually a new game that has I saw recently that has piqued my interest.
Yeah.
I only saw the release trailer for it, but it looks good. It's a long way away.
Okay.
But it is called Blood of Dawnwalker.
Okay.
I think it's. I'll double check that, but it's from one of the people that worked on The Witcher 3.
Okay. Yeah.
And it is a
Type of game.
vampire game.
Oh, that actually does sound pretty good.
Yeah, man. The trailer for it looked awesome.
Sweet.
That kind of fantasy medieval, dark fantasy medieval that The Witcher brought us, this brings us as well.
Sweet.
And yeah, I would definitely suggest if you haven't heard of it, to check it out because it looks good. It is, as I said, it's a long way away.
Yeah.
It'll be available on all of the things you would expect. But yeah, we're not going to see this game for a while. But a hell of a release trailer.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who knows what they're doing in that world, in like a dark fantasy world, and yeah, I just saw it and was like, wow, wow, this game looks awesome.
I'll have to watch it later.
Yeah, I definitely suggest doing that. All of you, go look at it. If you're looking for something like that, I think it's a very good shout out. And if it comes out before The Witcher 4, which is a possibility of, it will definitely be something you can play to itch scratch until The Witcher 4 comes out.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
it could be a very fun companion game because you get to be the monster.
Yes. Whereas a lot of the time at the moment, I'm looking at games that have been out for a long time that I want to play at the moment.
Well,
So
I just recently
noticed-
started playing Lord of the Rings Lego again.
I did see that. I was scrolling through the classic catalog on the PlayStation. All the Sly games are on there,
Ah, okay.
so I can go run through those again.
Well, there's two more things that I kind of want to bring up. One of them is, so, as I mentioned last time, I've been watching a lot of Disney
Yes.
old school stuff.
Yeah.
I recently finished Phineas and Ferb, so I started watching Gravity Falls,
Yes.
and boy, do I love that vibe that it gives off.
Oh, it's a good one.
And so I'm currently looking for a game that has that vibe. You know, like
Yeah.
the small town amidst the forest with a bit of weirdness going on. There's a few that come to mind for me straight away,
Okay.
but none of them really are exactly what I want. Like Alan Wake straight up jumps to mind. Small
Yeah.
town, foresty woods area, mystery. I'm like, oh yeah, Alan Wake. But like Alan Wake is a very linear story. Maybe Alan Wake 2 would be a good one.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I think it might
Fair.
be a little bit freer. Another one is that weird. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like you play a detective in this kind of setting. You're going after a serial killer, and like the bit I remember about it is it has the world's most uneconomical car where you're getting something like 10 gallons of fuel to the half mile or something like that.
Jeez. Oh,
And so you have to, like, people will be like, yeah, you have to walk back to town a lot to fill up the
Oh God, no.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember what that game is called, but I know how to find it because so many people talk about it, and it has
Yeah.
a sequel as well, which is.
Okay.
But I'm just like looking for games that kind of have that like small town mystery vibe going.
I think
to
a
it.
lot of.
Trying to think of
I
like.
think a lot of the type of game that comes to mind in that situation tends to be point and clicks. They do those quite often,
Yeah.
and it can work.
Yeah.
Um.
One of the other ones that I kind of got like, because I was like, oh, I wonder if there's anyone else that's looked this up, and like one of the ones that came up was like A Night in the Woods. I'm like, I do have to play that. I do have to finish playing that game. So yeah. So that's something that I've been looking for. But in terms of like that Disney thing, I've also been watching the Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War arc.
Oh yes.
Is that the right combination of those words? Thousand
Thousand
War
Year
Blood Year?
War. No, 1,000 Year Blood War is the correct thing.
Yeah.
I haven't started watching that yet because I've still got to finish the original Bleach.
Unfortunately, I finished the original Bleach when it stopped airing like 10 years ago.
I started watching it a couple months ago.
But because I was incredibly shocked because it ended super abruptly, and everyone's like, "Well, that's the end of the Bleach anime. We're never gonna see the continuation of it." And then like a year ago, they're like, "Yeah, we're continuing it on, but at a
But the
super
announcement
rushed
was
pace."
2 years ago.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
when it actually started coming out, I was like, "Oh, they are continuing it, and they are super rushing the pace. Like things that are like things that should be taking longer, are just like, nope, we're knocking all of this out in a single episode."
Yep.
Things that would have been like, this is a whole arc, are now like, nope, this is an episode.
Holy shit. Okay, yep. They're really rushing that down. Shit.
Yeah. And it's like,
Okay.
so like I think there's probably I'm up to I finished all of what's out at the moment, and there's probably about one more like 13 episode thing to come out,
Okay, yeah.
which for a shonen is incredibly
That's
realistic.
incredibly fast, yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yes.
Especially considering like this is the big bad and all arc that like finishes
Yeah.
the story. But I've been watching it and I'm just like, oh god, like there are parts of it where I'm just like this. It's my problem with like so many things. Where it's like they really play hard and fast with just how powerful people are, and it's like this happens, and then they're more powerful, but then there's the other person, and it's like, hang on, that person shouldn't even be able to. What? Hang on, and it's like, no, but it's okay because they've got this. And it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
It's the one thing in anime that annoys me. It's like, not even just anime, all things where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, as I always said with the Marvel stuff, you can't take it seriously because if you watch just watch Thor in like all of the Avengers stuff, and he goes from being like incredibly powerful to incredibly weak to overpowered to having no power, and it's like that's just in like the first movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like, if you're going to give someone a power level, you have to keep them at that power level, and if you don't want to use them because it's, oh my god, they're too powerful, quickly power them down. It's like, no, if you can't have them at the power level you've set them, remove them from the scene.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So it's like, yeah.
Give them a reason as to why they're not there.
Yeah. So it's like, but like even in this like season, like in the last what they're dubbing as season 3, which is like third part, the third 13 episodes. There's like a point where I may have just missed it because I wasn't paying attention, but it's like one of the villains is being chased by a character. He's like, haha, you're poisoned. Then like the next time we see him, he's like, ah, damn it, it's Ichigo. Then the next time we see, like, that's all we see. We just see him be like, I didn't want to fight you. Then the next time we see him, Ichigo's just like beaten. He's just standing there being like, yeah. And you're like, hang on, but Ichigo was literally fighting his boss. Yes, he didn't beat his boss, but he was going toe to toe with who have been said to be two of the most powerful of these guys.
Yeah.
And what now? This guy can beat him in an off-screen fight. Like we're not even shown how he beats him, and it's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, yeah, there's just like a whole lot of stuff where it's also like, oh yeah, these characters are this powerful, and it's like they shouldn't be. Or like a character does something and you're just like, I don't understand how that character did that, because that breaks all of the rules that have been established up until now.
You might have to go through the manga to see what's happened.
Look, I've gone to a lot of different sources, and I'm just like, because like there's one scene that's bugging me still to this day.
Okay.
And it's like one of the most powerful Soul Reapers uses their Bonkai, which is so powerful it's locked away.
Yeah.
Like this is like even more powerful than like the first captain's Bonkai.
Yep.
And then somehow Uryu manages to trap them in their own Bonkai, which is their own power. He manages to make it work for him against them and then kills them whilst they're trapped in it. And I'm like, hang on, it's their power. There is no way in hell that, like, it's part of them.
Yeah, that's...
How did he get them trapped in something that is part of them?
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that just doesn't make sense, and it's like, I don't blame the anime. I actually think this comes back to the actual story, the original story, but it's also just like, just doesn't make sense. Everything we know about this shouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, hold up.
It needs to be expanded on, but it's not going to happen.
Oh, it's no, like, I kind of feel like the whole Blood War arc is like, some of it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then other parts, I'm like, hang on, that doesn't even, I'm like, how? Just explain how this is even happening.
Okay.
It's like characters, like top tier characters, like Kenpachi Zaraki being taken out by like sub tier enemies, and it's like,
okay,
what?
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, oh no, but he was taken out by this one, and it's like, hey, yeah, we've always understood that there's things like, you know, you can outsmart some of these characters who are like Ichigo. Yeah. He's incredibly powerful, but he's dumb as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he's not actually dumb as fuck, he's just, you know, if you bait him, you can beat him.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, and Zaraki's the same, but it's like these people didn't even bait him; they just full on bodied him with power, and it's like, and this is after he's unlocked his Shikai.
Okay.
But he doesn't use it, and it's like, hold on. You're like, I'm like, hold on, none of this makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Like, he's literally just, like, had this battle against a dude who can make, like, reality from his imagination. Like, literally is just like, ha ha ha, I can't lose, because if I can imagine stuff, I can do it. And literally, like, put him in space, and he, like, cut his way out of the void of space, and was just like, yeah, but I'm that good.
Yeah.
And then this bitch, like, just electrocutes him, and he's like, yep, you're gonna die now. And it's like,
okay, but...
And it's like, I get it, and the people will be like, oh no, but it's like, because he's taken so much damage from the last fight, it's like, no. We are talking about a guy, and he's also wearing his eye patch still.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And he's just done his fight against Unohara.
Yeah.
Which powered him up. So he's done the fight against her without the eye patch, and we already know that the eye patch is literally designed to weaken him.
Yes.
The entire time he's fighting, he's wearing the eye patch, and when he's like being beaten by that, I'm just like, okay, take off your eye patch.
Yeah.
Because we know the eye patch weakens you drastically.
Yes.
But then he's just like, nah, he's like lying there dying, and he's still got the eye patch on. Still hasn't activated his Shikai. Still hasn't done anything. He like doesn't even attack them. He just gets bodied by them so heavily. And it's like, it doesn't make sense.
This is like sounding like it's just something they forgot about.
It seems like they forgot. Like, I don't know if there's more, because as I said, there seems to have cut a lot out. I don't know if there's more. But to me, it just seems like we need some of these characters out of the way. I don't have a good way to get them out of the way.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna play wild and crazy with their power levels. And I know like everyone's like, oh, power levels thing, but like literally, like some of the stuff that like is just crazy insane is like you hear them talking about it. They're like, oh, we don't want Kenpachi Zaraki to unlock his Shikai and Bonkai because he'd be too powerful.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. But then they're like, yeah, but we're getting our asses handed to us, so we need him to be as powerful. It's like, okay, so they let him do it and become more powerful, and then it's like, nah, but he gets bodied by these two people, like, who are literally, like, taken out by weaker characters.
Jesus Christ.
And it's just like,
No, but they'll start to say that it's like, no, they were taken out by the weaker characters because they're from that fight.
But, you know, and that's, like, the kind of thing, and it's like, okay, hold up, and, you know, I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, I get that you want these, like, fights, and I'm like, but, like, you're showing me this guy who has this power level, and then it's like, okay, so he shouldn't be able to, oh, wait, no, but now he's fighting a stronger character, oh, yeah, now he has to be stronger. They also do things like probably the biggest thing I think from it is like there's a character that gets like beaten by one of the captains, right?
Yeah.
Like he uses his Bonkai, which he's the one that always wears the pink robe over it, the pink Camino over his thing.
Yeah.
You know how he like never uses his Bonkai and stuff.
Yeah.
He uses his Bonkai and like actually does it and like kills this guy, and then there's like cuts his head off.
Okay.
And then he's just like, oh, you can't kill me by cutting off my head. And I'm like, then why the fuck are we even here having this fight?
Yeah.
If you like, it's like these characters are like getting these like, oh, super immunities because the dude we're following is now like is now at a god level. And it's like, okay, but if you're that strong, why are we even having these fights? Shouldn't be happening.
No.
Because if you're that strong that you can't die, how is anyone even standing up to you?
It's a good point.
And it's like, so there's a whole lot of stuff where it's like, 1 second we're this strong, the next second we're this strong, the next second we're this, and I'm just like, I can't stand that in storytelling. If you have to make a character this strong for the story, but then you need that character to not be that strong so that they don't just walk through the whole thing, you need to remove that character from the story in a way.
Yeah.
It's like the Jujutsu whatever one.
Yeah.
You know,
Kaisen,
that's the one where it's like Gojo is super strong.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, if he's in these fights, there's no fights because he would win. He would win.
Yeah.
So they remove him from the story. They're like, he can't help anymore because he's removed from the story.
Yes.
So the other weaker characters have to carry the fighting.
Yes.
And you know, that's the point. Because if you have a character who you're like, this guy is strong, and until the point where, you know, they need him back so that they can have his strength, so that he can get beaten, all that kind of stuff, they're keeping him offside.
Yes.
And letting the other characters, the weaker characters, take over. But it's like, if you have to have that strong character to show, like, yes, we have a strong character who can do this stuff, you need to remove them from the story, not just be like, okay, no, for this fight, they're not actually going to use their power.
Yeah, no, it's really fucking stupid.
It's like, oh, no, for this fight, this is going to happen. And it's like, what?
Yay.
And that's what annoys me about that kind of stuff. It's just like,
it does ruin it.
If you need to put someone, and it's what I always said about the Infinity Wars thing, you know. If Thor could kill Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet on, and I know everyone's like, no, he wasn't using it because it was the... I'm like, no. Read about the Infinity Gauntlet, when you have all the stones, it doesn't have an on-off switch. You
Nobody
just have all that
Nobody
power.
knows that you're using it. They just start using it.
Yeah. Once you have them all on your hand, you have the power. It's not an on-off thing where it's like, I have to click to turn the power on.
I believe there was an actual animated movie about that.
Yeah, but
where they were going up against Thanos, and it turns out they were going up against him, but they were all, well, they were all in their heads. The Mind Stone was being used.
Pretty much.
Nobody knew about it.
But yeah, but like I'm saying, like, so Thor could literally strike an injury against him when he had the Infinity Stones.
Yes.
And he literally says, like, you could have killed me with these. Well, while I had these, yeah, I'd won, but if you had just aimed for my neck, you would have killed me.
Yes.
And it's like, cool. But then we also see Thor being, like, bodied by Ultron.
True.
It's like, you gotta have... As I always say, my favorite thing is actually from Thor, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Because I've never understood how he can be tased.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Anyway, so power levels, I just think this is from a good standpoint. If you're going to have like mystical, magical powers, whatever form they take, and you say that this person has these powers, you can't then be like, oh yeah, well they didn't use them in this fight because I needed to build suspense. You either got to remove that character from the fight, or literally have them just win it. Because one of the biggest things that pissed me off was that Oreo was able to fight a now like fully powered Ichigo. Because in the 1,000-year blood war arc,
yes,
fucking name of the century.
That you keep fucking up.
Name of the millennia.
Well, hang on a second.
It's just too long. It's too long and complex.
Yeah.
It should just be called the Quincy War. But we learned something about Ichigo, and that like he's actually like having his powers massively held back.
Yeah.
Like there's like literally a point where they're like, yeah, so we've been like holding most of your power back, like any power you didn't need, we've been holding back. And it's like, okay. And then, like, so he's now got all of this power, and then, like, Uryu manages to beat him. And I was like, I get it. People be like, oh, but he's holding back. And there is a pitch, like, where you see him literally hold back. He shoots an attack, and, like, it literally misses him.
Yeah.
Like, even though... But, like, you see the attack, and it's like... Oryu's attack is like literally like he launches it and it's his beam versus Ichigo's beam, and Ichigo's beam is like boop, boom.
Okay.
And then you've seen him like blocking all of these arrows with his swords.
Yeah.
And then Oreo shoots him with one arrow, like just shoots one arrow at him and like rips a giant hole through him, and he just falls to the ground. I'm like, no, that's not how.
No.
Even if he doesn't want to kill him, he would still just block that. He's been blocking faster shots than that the entire time. Earlier in this thing, he literally like blocks a shot from one of the fastest Soul Reapers ever. Like a Soul Reaper so fast, he makes like Yoruichi and Soifon look slow.
Okay, yeah.
And he like literally just blocks him and hurts him by blocking his hand. Okay. With his own hand. He doesn't even have any weapons or anything. And it's like, and then you just see this and you're like, there's no way that would happen.
No, it should have been a thing of like, oh, dodge. Oh, I caught you, arrow. Do you want it back?
And he also has a power to literally stop attacks from hitting him.
That's true.
So it's like there's just points in happening. I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. Especially now at this point, it doesn't make sense. And like I know the answer will be like, oh, but because their leader's powered up and they share stuff with him, they're all powered up. It's like it still doesn't make sense.
That's true.
Like, okay, so the other part that doesn't make sense, because I want to wrap this up quickly, yes. But there's like a character who's like, the more he literally says, and again, this could just be poor dubbing,
yeah, and
like not a proper translation, but at the same time, he literally says, the more damage I take, the bigger I get. I'm like, okay, but they literally killed you. You were dead. They cut off your head and then cut your body into pieces.
That's a lot of damage.
It's not damage. Damage is like, oh, you broke my arm, so now I'm bigger. It's like,
true.
No, we eviscerated you. Literally, Byakuya uses Senbon Sakuya on his dead body. because they're like, because one of the characters goes, "Was that really necessary?" And he goes, "Boom!" And then like, because you see the helmet that this guy's wearing fly up into the air covered in blood.
Yeah.
So decapitation.
Yeah, obviously.
And then he's like, it's just like, was that really necessary? And he's just like, boom! And then like all of the semblance of you like falls on his body and just like sits there shredding it. And I'm like, I don't care if your power is the more damage you take, the bigger you get. You don't get eviscerated and then come back and be like, I'm massive now. You're dead.
Oh, that's
You're just dead.
hell.
And it's like, I'm like, there's like, if you wanted that power should have been activating whilst he was being hit, not after he died.
True, yeah.
And so it's like, the characters they brought in, it's like, oh, they're so powerful. I'm like, no, they just seem... They seem Mary Sue. It's like, oh, you thought you killed me, but it turns out that I just got stronger from it. And it's like, no. We ain't in Dragon Ball, motherfucker. No one's Dragon Balling you back. You're not Goku. And even he had the good graces to actually die.
I know.
Multiple times.
Yes.
But these motherfuckers just like, ha ha ha. No, see, when you cut off my head and eviscerated my body, it was all part of my plan.
No.
It's like, okay, cool. And then like there's another, oh fuck man, there's so many, some of the shit that the characters are like saying, just, you're like, okay, but that doesn't make sense. Like one of them's like, haha, you attacked me with your spiritual power, because you know that's the magic that they use.
Yeah.
He's like, so I just upped the my power is that I can change the lethal dose of things. So I just upped the lethal dose of spiritual power that it takes to kill me. I'm like, that doesn't make sense because they use the spiritual power to beat you down with. I don't care how much of the spiritual power it takes to be a lethal dose for you. Punching you is not a lethal dose.
Oh.
That's just physically beating your body down. So
Yes.
it's like covered in like burns and stuff, and they just like disappear. And he's like, haha, because I upped it. And it's like, that doesn't, no, that's not how that would work.
burn would still be there. No, it doesn't get to disappear.
And it's like, you do not have a lethal dose of burning. You just burn to death.
Yes.
You can't change that.
Yeah.
And like,
Because the lethal
because the
dose of burning is literally just until you are gone.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. And it's like, that, like my problem is like they've given this guy this power. It's like it makes sense with some of the things he does.
Okay,
like
yeah.
it's like, oh, I've increased the lethal dose of your blood. And it's like, cool, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You lethal dose of blood, lethal dose of
Poison, whatever.
Yeah, all these things. And I'm like, but that doesn't work when the attacks are physical. You cannot be like, oh, I increased my because that's not increasing lethal dosage. That's increasing your resistance to physical.
Also, when is it also considered a situation of, I'm punching you, oh, you're getting your dosing of punches today? It's like, suck off.
It's like, oh no, the lethal dose of punches.
Oh no.
But yeah,
Fuck.
no. As I said, there's a lot in this. I'm just like, oh. It's a shame because I really like Bleach. I really liked what they did in the first couple of seasons. Like yes, people were powerful, but it was like, you know, like the captains in the first season where it's like, well, not the first season, sorry, because you don't really see them until the Soul Society arc.
Yeah.
But like when the captains first appear, they're not all using their Shikais, they're not all using their Bankais.
No.
A few of them do, but it's never like, I think only one of them uses it against Ichigo. And that's Byakuya.
Yeah.
The rest of them are like either using them against other captains,
True.
or using them against like, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, cool. You understand that it's like these guys are incredibly powerful, but they're also incredibly restrained. But now it's just like these guys are just like, I'm a Jesus character. You can't kill me. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, jeez.
And it's like we're getting to like the stage of MacGuffins to beat people. I'm just like, oh god damn it.
No.
Like, even the start of the Quincy War arc was like, oh, okay, cool, these Quincy's are incredibly powerful. But then you, like, see, like, just the base level guys, like, being able to kick, like, lieutenants' asses, and you're like, okay, well, hang on.
That's a bit far.
I'm like, I know Ichigo's powerful, but, like, he's only the strength of lieutenant, and, like, these guys are like, oh, he better not make it here, because he's too powerful. And it's like, most of the captains are more powerful than him.
Yes.
Especially at this point, because as I said, this is before he even gets the whole thing where it's like, yeah, we've been keeping your power in check.
Yeah.
So this is before that, and they're like, no, we don't want him to get here. He'd be too powerful. But then they're just like bodying the fucking captains, and it's like every captain is more powerful than him at this point.
Yes.
It's like, yes, Ichigo's incredibly powerful, but like any single captain could beat him.
Yeah.
Especially considering like Ichigo doesn't even use like his like top moves. Like he doesn't holify himself or anything like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't use any of his like super powerful stuff. He's just like normal Ichigo, and like he's too powerful. And then it's like, meanwhile they're just like, hey captains, boom, bitches, get out of the way.
Just start bitch slapping them all.
Yeah, and it's like guys, these guys are more powerful than him.
Jesus Christ. Okay. That seems like it's going to be annoying to watch, but...
It's going to be super annoying to watch. Like, as I said, there is like one part in that where I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because they're like, oh, you used to be more ruthless, and if you were more ruthless, you know, you wouldn't have this issue. And I'm like, okay, I get that. That makes sense, because like, he's literally talking to the old captain. He's like,
yeah,
you know, you could have done this and done this, but you've become too soft. And I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, fair enough. Someone becoming like soft and like not like having that ruthless edge could definitely change the outcome of a battle.
Oh yeah.
But also at the same time, get fucked with these power ups.
Oh god. Damn.
Anyway, I guess it's just about time to end it. But before we do, I am going to point out something. Kris, see that?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a stain.
You know what the stain that is? That is this fate stain.
Yeah.
From the fates, because I said to myself, today I'm going to wear a white t-shirt, then I'm going to appear on camera, and then I'm going to eat a big bowl of spaghetti sauce.
Oh, fuck's sake. Of course it was going to fucking happen.
And I've been doing this whole thing with a stain. The only thing that could have stained me more is if I decided to eat a burrito today.
Oh yeah, that would screw it all up.
Every time I wear a white shirt, I have on-camera filming to do, and I have a burrito, I can guarantee that there's just going to be burrito juice all down my shirt.
I believe there was a day I was here that you went and changed shirts for that reason.
That's exactly correct. Like, burritos, man. You know, like how a burrito's supposed to be wrapped so nothing can come out?
Yeah.
99% of the time, I get a burrito like that. But whenever I wear a white shirt, it's like, it's not wrapped, and then it's just like all the drippings, and it's like straight down on, and it's like, how?
Or every time you have a kebab. Guarantee with a kebab.
That's because kebabs, they could solve the issue if they just folded up the bottom.
I'm aware of what the solution is.
Take a second, fold the bottom.
It would actually be so much better.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. If you have liked the video, this podcast, consider liking, sharing, commenting, or subscribing. If you haven't already, it really does mean a lot to us here. If you want to see more from me and Kris, check out the rest of the channel. We play a whole variety of video games averagely. We are very average at video games.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Yep.
But guys, until next time, I've been Darcy, he's been Kris.
Indeed.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time right here on the channel.
Yes.
See you later, guys.
So,
Burritos, man.
fuck.